Hello, and welcome to Do You Watch Anime, where I sit down with a guest, whether it be a friend or a family member or a random stranger I pick off the street, and I ask them, do you watch anime? My name is Adam Corky, and today, joined with me is...
Sheba.
Woo. How are you today?
I'm good. Can't complain.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a good Monday.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. So, Sheba.
Yes.
Do you watch anime?
I didn't know I was going to be asked this question.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. Not all of the animes.
Yeah.
There's a few that I watch, like Sailor Moon, obviously.
Of course.
I think that was like a gateway to most of us, for at least when I was a kid. But yeah, anime, Sailor Moon, I've watched most of My Hero Academia. I kind of fell behind a little bit. I've watched Attack on Titan, although I'm behind a little bit with that too. I've been watching a few random ones with Attila. So I have a few. We watched one called Pluto.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He finished. I didn't.
Yeah,
I just watched with him. A few episodes, a couple episodes, something like that. And then we watched one yesterday, and I don't remember what it's called. But it's about these two kids who are kind of wandering around post-apocalyptic kind of thing, but they're two different stories. One where they're...
Is it on Disney Plus?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I don't. He was watching
that
it on,
sounds familiar.
But like, there was a girl. Said she was referred to, looked as a girl kind of thing. But then, in one story, she was like, "No, I'm a man."
Oh yeah.
And then in the other, but I don't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
it was interesting though.
It sounds very familiar, and I just want to pull it up to see if it's the right one.
Yep. We only watched 2 episodes, but it was really cool.
Yeah,
really interesting.
It was like it came out last season. On Disney, I know it's on Disney Plus.
It must have, maybe it is on Disney Plus. He just found it randomly somewhere.
Heavenly Delusion, that's what it's called.
I don't remember because he told me the Japanese name, and I went and I'm like, I don't know. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Heavenly Delusion, which is.
Oh yeah, because they're looking for heaven, so that would make sense. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, how did you what was your first I was about to say indoctrination of anime. Your gateway. How did you get into anime in the first place?
It was definitely Sailor Moon, and it was only because I was like, oh, pretty.
Yeah, of course. That's
I was like, oh, I like the animation. It looks cool, and I've always loved cartoons, so any kind of version of anything animated, I will kind of gravitate towards it. So when I was a kid, kind of saw a few episodes on YTV back in the day.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is great. I love this. And then after that, I didn't watch any other anime. It was a lot of other cartoon stuff. It was harder to find when I was younger. Yeah. Because we didn't have streaming and things like that. Because I'm from the 80s. I was born in the 80s, so I grew up in the 90s. So yeah, we didn't really have that. So it was harder to find all the anime stuff. I didn't watch a lot of the Dragon Ball Z or any Digimon or anything. I knew that they existed. I saw maybe random episodes here and there, but it wasn't until I was a lot older, and then people suggested animes, and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll check them out. It's like cartoon based, so we're good. And then I just kind of just loved it after that. There was a lot of just Studio Ghibli type stuff. It's not really anime per se because
it is anime.
Okay, I was like, I don't know if that
animated in Japan. That's kind of the bar.
So I was like, does that count? Because I loved that. I loved all those. So just a lot of that. Sailor Moon definitely was the first one though.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Ghibli movie?
Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, fuck yeah. Whenever we know when Jesse's sad because Howl's Moving Castle will be on, and it's it's the running joke in this household.
And I don't know if it's because Christian Bale is the voice, the English version. So I think that was 90% of the reason why I was like, oh, I like this. I like this movie. Yeah. But just because I was like Christian Bale, and I had a random obsession with Christian Bale after Dark Knight. So I was just like, yay. Yeah. So I think that was probably the reason I loved it so much. But I loved Spirit Away also. Yeah. That was a wonderful one. There's quite a lot of them that I love, but those are the 2 main ones in terms of Ghibli. Yeah.
It's crazy how they feel. Yeah. They have their own feel. Yeah. And you're watching a Ghibli movie. They have their own whimsy. And it just makes no fucking sense how they do it.
You're just there and you're like, oh, all right. Oh, that was the end. Like,
Yeah.
you feel like it's like very immersive and you're caught, like you're in a whole universe for it. And then all of a sudden it ends and you're like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved them. And then once somebody on Tumblr, back when Tumblr was really big.
Yeah.
Someone to put all of the Ghibli movies on, they were like, here's where you can watch all of them. So I just went through and was like, let's have a marathon, just watch them all for like, I don't know, the year that I was just kind of trying to catch up. So yeah, I watched quite a few of them from that, which was a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I love that.
Yep.
So back to Sailor Moon.
Yep.
I have a confession.
Confession, go.
Okay. You promised to. You were one of my favorite humans. Please don't kill me.
I would never.
I've said this on the podcast before, but you cosplay Sailor Mercury.
Yeah, she's not your favorite. That's okay.
She is not my favorite.
She's not a lot of people's favorites. Most people don't like her, and I was like, I think she had blue hair.
Yeah.
She was the blue Sailor Scout, and I tend to always like the ones that are just either quiet on the side. Plus, it just reminded me of me.
Yeah.
I think that's why I kind of gravitated more towards her. I loved Sailor Moon in general because I was like, oh, she's the main character.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, yay! But I'm like, but the one that I relate to most is probably Sailor Mercury, the nerdy type who just is kind of there. So it just, not to say that I feel that way now, but at the time I really felt like that. So I think that's why I gravitated towards her character because I loved all the other ones. Yeah. But I was like, I'm not like that. Yeah. And Sailor Venus was always just the pretty one, and I'm like, I'm not a pretty one. I have curly. Again, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Now I am very happy with how I look and who I am. That's not a problem. But when I was younger, real big self-esteem stuff. So of course. I was like, that's not me. And then Sailor Jupiter was strong, and I was like, that's not me. Even though now, again, different story. I feel like I'm stronger. Yeah. Sailor Mars was always the angry one, and I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm angry sometimes, but just internally. Yeah. And then again, Sailor Moon was the main character. Again, a pretty one. And she had people like her, and I was like, nobody likes me. So I was like, who's the one?
Sorry, no one likes me.
But at least that's how I felt.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, there's Sailor Mercury. I'm like, she's just kind of invisible to people. You know, she gets the one guy that she likes at one point. So I was like, she just related a lot to me. Yeah. And that's why I liked her. But they didn't give her a lot of plot development or, character development or anything like that. Yeah. She was just there. But that's why I related, because I was like, I'm just there. Yeah. I am here.
That's valid.
I have friends, but I am here.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she just automatically became my favorite.
That's valid. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't hate anybody because I'm like, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
It's just that I related to her on a different level.
Yeah. When I rewatched, because growing up, Mercury was actually my favorite.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because, she's shy and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's kind of just like me because I was shy, right? Right? And then I rewatched it like a couple years ago and I was like, Ami, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. She's always like, school. And I'm like, I mean, I liked school, but I
was
like
like
that much.
Yeah, literally. It's like, let's do this. We should study. And I'm like, Ami, kindly shut the fuck up.
I was like, respectfully, but like, no, I totally
love you,
get that.
But stop being a stick in the mud.
And it also helps though that because no one else likes her, nobody else cosplays her as much.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
I'm like, hey, I don't have to fight people for it. People are like, if I was like Sailor Mercury, Sailor Moon, people would be like, but I wanna. Yeah. I'm like, Sailor Mercury, nobody else fights you on it. So like, yes. Like, it can always be her. Yeah. So I think that helps also.
Yeah. I love that.
Yep.
Oh God. Yeah. Every time. And like, there was some episodes where every time she opened her mouth, I was like, please, girl. Yep. Like, just take it easy.
I was like, I get it. We're all nerds here, but like, you too nerdy. Yeah. I think I'm more Sailor Jupiter.
Okay.
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit less boy crazy than Sailor Jupiter.
Oh yeah.
Although I did like a lot of celebrities, so maybe a little bit like Sailor Jupiter. Yeah. But I think maybe a little bit more like her. I still cry a lot, so I guess I'm a combination of everyone. There's a combination of everybody.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I like Sailor Mars because she's angry and
yeah. I don't get angry, I mean, I do get angry.
Yeah.
And it's scary when I'm angry. So
Yes.
maybe Sailor Moon.
Yeah, I don't want to see you angry ever.
Well, I don't want anybody to see me angry ever because it's not pretty. It's gotten better over age. When I was younger, it was really bad. I think, and I tell people this story all the time. Once I got really, really angry, and I just, because I don't know what to do. I'm like, I can't hurt anybody. I can't. So I just get angry by myself. And once I just went into my room and just put my hand on my like dresser and just threw everything on the floor. And there was a necklace that I had, like, was a little Swarovski snowflake, which I still have. Yeah. And it chipped it. And I went, no. So ever since then, I'm like, don't get that angry. So I just go, if I'm really, really ever that angry, I just stand there going, I don't know what to do. And then I cry. So if I've ever gotten really angry, I just cry.
I do the same thing where I just cry.
Yeah. I mean, I cry all the time. Let's be honest.
It's healthy.
Yeah.
There was 4 years where I didn't cry because of toxic masculinity, and so like,
everyone should cry. It's wonderful.
Everyone should cry. It's wonderful.
It's a great thing. Like it releases so many emotions, and just you feel tense when you don't cry.
Yeah.
And then some days you just sit and have a good cry. I will purposely watch really sad movies just to cry.
Okay, I don't do that.
Oh no, I do. I'm like, I can feel it. It's tense here in my chest, and I'm like, I just need a good cry.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch a sad movie and I'll sob throughout the whole thing. And I'm like, I needed that.
Yeah.
So it helps.
Yeah, I mean, whatever, I tend to avoid sad, like, oh my God, Casper, Jesus Christ, he just attacked me. It's like the third episode in a row you've interrupted. Thank you so much. But yeah, I'll watch like some episodes of TV shows that are sad are some of my favorite episodes.
Yep.
Because, like the Tales of Ba Sing Se and Avatar is my favorite episode of Avatar.
Yeah.
And so good.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just so good.
Avatar in general is
it's
so
my
good.
favorite show of all time.
It's the greatest.
Yeah.
I will Ember Island Players, I will watch on a regular basis, just like if I need to I'm having a moment, I will just rewatch it just because I'm like, it's just a recap of everything. It's silly, it's goofy, and I will just rewatch that, laugh, and go, all right, cool. Now moving on with my day. I'll always just like, there we go. All right, cool. Just this episode. Yeah. So I understand completely.
Yeah. Oh my God, bro! Jesus, he just went after me. Okay. Anyway, thanks, Casper, for that.
Please don't attack me.
You have a shield now.
Yep. There you go. It's a pillow.
Yeah.
I don't have Captain America's shield. I just have a pillow.
Yeah. That same thing.
Yeah. It's like it should work.
Yeah. God. So from Sailor Moon and Ghibli, you went to My Hero, or
I did Attack on Titan first. Okay. A friend of mine was like,
he's going crazy.
Oh, okay. I was like,
he's just going crazy.
He's just going crazy back there. Yeah. But a friend of mine was like, you should watch Attack on Titan. It's great. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I watched it and I went, oh, this is great. And just became obsessed after that. And then another friend of mine asked me to watch Naruto. And I started and realized there were like 1,000 episodes. And I'm like, it might take a while. And because I like to watch them subbed, it takes even longer. Because normally I'll watch shows in the background.
It's fine. Just leave them.
I thought he was going to come jump on me because you were like looking. And I'm like,
I'm just keeping an eye. It's okay.
So I can't watch while I'm doing. Normally I'll watch things while I'm doing work. And it helps kind of distract me and stuff. But because I was watching them subbed, I had to just sit and look at it, so I couldn't do my work at the same time. Yeah. So I'm like, 1,000 episodes is going to be real tough for me to get through.
Well, especially in sub. I respect the people who binge in sub. I can't do it.
Yeah, I tried. Yeah. So I didn't get around to finishing Naruto. Yeah. And then after that, my friend was like, you know what? Just watch My Hero Academia. You're gonna love it. And I became obsessed with that too. Yeah. Except that during COVID, I'd caught up, and then COVID happened, and then I just fell behind with a lot of stuff. And then there was like a million shows after that, so I didn't get a chance to catch up with everything. So I will go back and catch up with all of those. I just haven't yet. Yeah. But yeah, those are the main ones, I think. And then I watched one episode of Demon Slayer. Okay. It's not that I didn't like it. Yeah. Again, it was subs, so I couldn't. So a lot of it I start. Death Note I started. Okay. I didn't finish, not because I don't like it, because again, subbed and needed to pay attention. Yeah. But I really liked that too. It was very really interesting. So I'm kind of sad I haven't finished it yet, but I will get around to doing that one too.
It's like the cornerstone of anime.
Well, that's
right?
why I had a list of ones that people are like, you need to watch this. So I started it. I just haven't got around to finishing it. But it's on the list of things that I need to accomplish and finish.
Yeah.
But
God damn. I'm surprised. I'm just surprised you watch it all in sub.
Someone was like, you should just watch it in sub. And I'm like, okay. And then I've just been watching it like that since. Although Attila and I sometimes will he'll watch it dubbed. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But then sometimes I just sit there going, I wonder what it sounds like subbed. Because I'm just like, I know there are a lot of good dubbed versions of anime, and some of the voice actors are fantastic. It's just that I'm like, this is how it's supposed to be heard, so I should just hear it. But it just takes twice as long to watch. That's all.
Yeah.
But
I think that's one of my biggest proponents
Right.
from, like, because I have watched many series subbed.
Right.
I hate that debate of dub versus sub.
Oh, no,
it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But I also do stuff like as like I'm watching,
right?
So I need that like
that's
English,
the thing,
or I can't keep up with the subtitles sometimes because of the epilepsy.
Right.
So that was epilepsy for those who missed that. But yeah.
But yeah, because it's I sometimes have to go back because I'm like, I'll read and then go, oops, I missed what happened in the picture. Because sometimes the visual is just as important as the written part. So I'm like, oh no, I've missed it. So I'll pause, look, go back, rewatch it, or I'll read first and then go back and watch. Yeah. But then again, it takes longer to do all of that because you're just trying to do two things at once. You and Moon had suggested like some good animes that are also good in dubbed.
Yep.
So there's a few that I want to check out that I would like to, and I can also just binge watch them as I'm doing work.
Yeah.
Because I'll usually I'm a teacher, so there's a lot of just a lot of work on my computer. So it's nice to be able to have something in the background.
Yeah.
So I have a list of things that I can also watch dubbed, but I haven't gotten around to them either.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also watched My Hero subbed and dubbed.
Yeah.
So like they're both fucking fantastic. I recommend both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Maybe I'll just watch the rest of it. I don't remember where I am. I think I finished right before the movie.
Which one?
The first one. I
think. The first movie?
I think so.
Holy shit.
So I think I'm really behind.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
I think so. Because I don't remember watching the first movie. So yeah, maybe that's where I am.
I mean, the movies aren't really canon.
Oh, no, it wasn't. So. I was just trying to catch up to watch the movie.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and hadn't watched the movie either. And then COVID happened and I just... Or no, maybe I caught up right before the new stuff came out. I can't remember now. I think I'd just gotten to when they'd met the guy whose face was in... No, I watched the guy who just... From the other class.
Okay.
But he just like pops out of the walls and the floor and everything. So I think I'd gotten to the season where they introduced that class and they were doing the
tournament.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's where I stopped, from what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That is honestly one of my favorite arcs in the entire series.
Yeah.
So I very much implore you to finish that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's My Hero is so good.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. That's why I'm like, oh man, I need to get back to it because I'd stopped because all the I'd caught up to the episodes, and then when they were like they're releasing more, I just didn't get around to watching them. So
yeah, life happens.
We'll get there. Yeah, exactly. And there's so many things to watch.
Oh my God, there's so much.
Yeah.
Well, Hayden, one of our friends, messaged me the other day. He's like, "Have you seen Loki season 2?" And I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, I kind of don't have time.
Yep.
I'm busy with the podcast and catching up on all the anime because I want to do a year-end kind of video.
Yeah.
So I've been watching nothing. And also, Froppy got me into Black Clover, so that's all I've been watching.
Yep, that's fair.
Thanks, Froppy, for that.
See, because I have a podcast to do Marvel stuff, so I'm on top of all the Marvel things because I have to be.
Yeah.
Because they'll literally go, "Did you watch this?" And I'm like, they asked about watching the trailer for Echo, and I hadn't before we were recording. And as we were recording, I just kind of played it in the background and just watched it. And they're like, 2 of us have watched it and not one person, and we're not telling you who. I'm like, no, I got it. We're good. And they're like, I'm like, I watched it right now. We're good. So I got it done.
Yeah.
But that's usually where I kind of try to keep track of everything is the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
So I fall behind with a lot of the anime.
Yeah.
But
which is valid, but yeah. And I mean, My Hero's perfect for that, like, because you're a huge fan of Marvel and superheroes. So
that's why I love it so much.
Exactly.
And Todoroki's my favorite, but that's also because he reminds me of Zuko, and Zuko's my favorite.
Okay.
So I'm like, I need more Todoroki in my life.
So, technical difficulties aside, I've never talked to an actual person who likes Todoroki the best in person. Most of them online are like, and they're probably already also traumatized. Who knows?
And that's probably maybe why they relate.
Exactly, exactly. So why is Todoroki your favorite in My Hero?
Well, I mean, again, most of the time he just reminds me of Zuko, and the fact that the main thing that he shares with Zuko, which is what I liked about Zuko, is Zuko has that issue with his dad.
Yeah.
He's got the issue with his dad. And he was closer to his mom, that kind of thing. Not to say that I have any issues with my dad or anything like that.
No.
I just felt bad for him that he was treated so poorly. And this goes for Todoroki as well. But Todoroki specifically, he's trying his best to be someone that his dad wants him to be one thing, and he's trying so hard to not be that thing that his dad wants him to be. He's like, I know I have your powers, but he just doesn't want to use them because he's like, nope, I don't want to be like you. I do not want to use them. And just him trying to figure out who he is and how to do both, how to use both of his powers without being his dad. And I think that is really admirable, that he's just trying really hard to be his own person, not trying to live in his dad's in his dad's shadow, or not trying to be his dad. So I think that I really kind of respect that about him. And I feel like he just needs a hug.
Yeah, he does.
He just needs a hug.
Yeah.
And I think I told someone, and I always feel like I can not connect to, but I always feel bad for the tortured characters.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, "That's a problem. Be careful if you're like dating people. Don't use that." And I'm like, "Oh no." I'm like, that's
you're thinking way too much.
Yeah,
into
I was
this.
like, that's not. I'm like, I would never do that in real life in terms of like dating wise. But I'm like, it's just I feel for those characters. I feel what I just feel what they're going through, and I just feel bad for them. And so I think that's why I kind of like Todoroki as a character, is just I feel what he's going through. And in terms of like trying to, it's not the same kind of thing, but there was a lot of times where I would try to make sure that my parents were proud of me, and I did my best, and I worked really hard to try to get to where I am now.
Yeah.
And I think in a sense I kind of related a little bit to Todoroki in that way, and to a lot of characters like that I know how it feels like to work really hard, and sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to.
Yeah.
You're always struggling, you're stressed out, you're wondering, am I doing the best that I can do? Is this the best that I am for not just myself, for other people around me?
Yeah.
Am I a good role model? Am I just a lot of things like that? And so I think that's what I end up relating to a lot of the characters, especially with Todoroki, because I've been there and I understand that. So that's why I ended up loving him so much. God
damn, I love that. That is so good.
Thanks.
That is such a good answer. Holy shit. How do I that's the end of the podcast. No, I'm kidding.
Goodbye, the end.
That's the end. That was the perfect answer. We're done. No. I think going off of like the tortured soul kind of thing, I think My Hero does a fantastic job of like, because at the start, at least, it is very like stereotypical, like my dad hurt me, I don't want to, but as the series goes on, it gets more and more nuanced.
That's the thing.
And I think what Horikoshi has done with the Todorokis in general has been absolutely fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Kind of scares me for his home life, but
Right. Yeah.
because he's writing it so well.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
are you
is this
okay?
based off experience or someone else's experience?
Hori, are you okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that even like when I talked to Froppy about Endeavor,
Yeah.
I still think Endeavor is one of the best characters in the show,
Right. Yeah.
character-wise.
Right.
Because yes, he's done bad shit, but he's trying to make it better.
Right.
In his own weird way.
And I really appreciate characters like that because you could be evil but that's just what you know. That's the information that you have. And we're all kind of, not that we're all evil, but we all learn and grow and we get better and become better people as new information is brought to us. So you could be a terrible person at the beginning of wherever you start in life. Yeah. But then as you get more information, you can go, oh, this is new information. Cool. Let me change who I am, or let me change my mindset. Maybe it's the teacher thing in me. That's why I like to gravitate towards those characters. Yeah. Just because I'm like, I can understand that people can change and they can get better, and we should allow people that opportunity to grow. So, yeah, that's really interesting as a series, even with all the other characters,
especially with like superheroes involved, because a lot of stories with superheroes go that like very ... or like point, angle of the like the same like stereotypical way of going about things, and I think having that is just so nice to see in that superhero genre. Yeah,
because they're not all perfect. They're not always. I mean, being a superhero, I can only imagine, is really hard because you're trying to do your best. Yeah. And you can't make a mistake, because if you make a mistake, people are either going to be afraid of you or they're not going to respect you enough anymore. Yeah. So trying to be really perfect all the time is just exhausting. So I can only imagine you can't do everything right all the time. Yeah. And it's just really interesting that they can show flawed superheroes or superheroes that are changing and getting better and improving over time. So, yeah.
Yeah. I fucking love My Hero. I said literally last episode with Tanner that I could make a whole 4-hour podcast on My Hero and go on.
Oh, I know. Also, I forgot I've watched Sword Art Online. I forgot about that one.
No.
I mean, the first two I like. That weird one with his sister, that was weird.
That's
the Ono one. Yeah, I was like, I'm like the other ones. I mean, it's just.
Yeah, it's an isekai. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's.
I was like, oh wait, what? Oh, yeah. All right, that's a thing. Oh, and I've seen Fate Stay.
Fate Stay.
Yeah, I've seen. Okay. I think I've seen all of them.
Oh wow.
Pretty sure I've seen all of them.
Damn.
I was like, I've seen more than just what I've. I'm like, I've seen a little bit more. I just can't remember. Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm friends with all these fucking Fate fans. Jesus.
I just forgot.
Yeah, it's fine. There's a lot.
Yeah, because there was so much in that series that and they're all kind of a little bit different. So you're like, I've forgotten what they all are.
Literally.
So I remember the first one very vividly, and then the second one, I'm like, right, that was different, and then the third one, it was a little different. So it's even more different than the first two. And you're like, my brain, I don't know. Yeah. So I've kind of, and it was a while ago. I don't think it's been a few years now since I saw them. And I've only seen them once. So I don't remember all the details. Yeah. But I have seen them. Mm-hmm. I was wondering, I'm like, I've seen more anime than just like 3 things. Yeah. I swear. Yeah. Seen things.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. I've seen some anime. Yeah. Not just like 4 things. Yeah. But I have,
So, like, I'm hearing all of these anime you've watched, and usually when I bring people on, I see a pattern in what people watch. Like, you know, Tanner and Reed like those shonen. You know, we get Bite with Oliver Fate and weird fairy tale shit. Right. And I can't. What goes through your mind picking an anime? Because you went from My Hero and Sailor Moon to fucking Sword Art Online to Fate. Right.
A friend of mine's like, you should just gave me a list, and I went okay, and then I just watched them and I go, oh, fun. Yeah. So okay, I really just people suggest things, and I watch. I have lists of things. Oh, I started watching Lookism.
What's that about?
So Attila had told me about it's a webtoon thing. Okay. And they took that webtoon, made it into an anime. Okay. I had a student tell me about it. Attila was reading the webtoon, and he was like, he's like, oh, you should watch this. I'm like, or read this. I'm like, why does that sound familiar?
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, why does that sound familiar? I'm like, right, a student told me about this. And he's like, do you know what it's about? I'm like, no, a student just looked at me and went, you should watch this. And I went, okay, let me add it to my list of anime that just keeps growing.
Yeah.
So I started watching it. I think I'm on episode 6. I have 3 episodes left. It's really about this kid who's he's got a lot of self-esteem issues. He doesn't like the way he looks. He gets bullied a lot for the way he looks.
Yeah.
And then one day he just comes home, falls asleep, wakes up, and he's in like just a completely different body, like tall, attractive, model-esque looking kind of character. And he's like, what? And then he looks down and his other body is there. So it's just asleep. And that's really all I had been told.
Jesus Christ. That sounds like a horror. Like, I was like, is he dead? Like,
well, so that's what he's like. He's like really worried. Like, what's going on here? So he's not dead. He's just asleep.
Okay.
But he realizes that if he needs to nourish the other body, because if he doesn't nourish his other body, then he falls asleep again. And then when he falls asleep, he just like he can't stay in one body for long. And then it's just kind of, I'm at the part where he's just sorting it all. Like they're still figuring it all out. There's a lot of like mystery to it because you don't really know how it happened, what's going on. And I don't know all of the details yet. Cause like I said, I haven't finished the series yet. But it's really interesting. It's a really cool one. It's interesting to see how people treat different people because when he's because he goes to school and he's in his attractive self.
Yeah. And
when he's working in the evenings, because he stays up in the evening all night in one body and then goes to sleep so he can go to school as the other body.
Yeah.
And he works at a convenience store and the people treat him horribly. Even initially when he gets the job, it's the other face that goes to apply for the job. And the person is like, oh yeah, come, you can work. Yeah, it's exciting. And then when he shows up for the job, the guy's like, where is the other guy? And he's like, no, that's my friend. He's not going to be here. He's like, oh, and just completely changes the way he interacts with this person. And it's just really, it's sad, but it's really interesting. But I've been enjoying it so far. It's not on Netflix. I think it only has the 1 season, but it is a webtoon comic, and I think they just moved it on to Netflix after that. Yeah. But really, really interesting.
Cool. Yeah. I've seen it like advertised as soon as you said
the title.
He turns into the one. I was like, okay, I've seen the trailer for that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good to know.
So I just got people give me recommendations, and I just go, okay, let me mentally put it on a list, and then I'll find it and put it on my watch list. That was one of the ones that the kids were just like. I just had a kid who I taught French, and he just comes up and he's like, "Have you seen this anime?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "You should see this anime." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'll add it onto my list."
Bet.
Yeah, I was like, "Sure." And I'm like, kids just tell me things, and I go, "Okay." And then so I was telling Attila, I'm like, "Yeah, a student told me to watch this," and he's like, it deals with a lot of heavy subjects. I'm like, honestly, kids tell me things and I go, okay.
Well, like Jack's partner is also a teacher. Yeah. And she was like, some of my kids are really into Demon Slayer. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah. I have
there's some blood. There's some... Yeah. I mean, Demon Slayer is probably one of the more tame ones. Right. But like, I think she mentioned some kids into Chainsaw Man. I was like,
yeah, you're like,
who are your parents?
I have grade 4 kids, and a lot of them are like, right now they're still into like a lot of the Dragon Ball Z type stuff and Pokemon. They're into that. But I dressed up for Halloween as like a gender bent Todoroki. Yeah. And I was at school, and all the kids, I thought like 4 people were going to recognize me, and that was it. Yeah. I had so many kids, either they knew that I was from an anime, or they were like, "Are you Todoroki?" And I'm like, this is getting way more, like people are guessing this way more than like Miss Marvel did. So I was like, this is.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm in a school with a lot of like South Asian kids. Yeah. So I was like, well, all right, cool. But there were so many kids just coming up to me going, "Are you Todoroki?" I'm like, yeah. I had kids from another class come up to me and go, "So, can you dress up as like this character?" It was the character from Spy X Family.
Oh, Spy Family.
Anya.
Anya,
yeah. I had someone ask me to dress up as her, and I was like, cool, I'll add it to my list of things. I'm like, I haven't seen the anime. I need to see the anime.
You do. It's very good.
I know you and Moon have both told me about it. Yeah. And a few other friends were like, you should watch it. So I'm like, okay. So I have a lot of like I have a lot of people that have suggested it, and the kids have suggested it. So I'm like, don't worry. I'm like, I will watch it, and I'll add that onto my cosplay list of things. So I had a few kids who were like, can you do this? Can you dress up as this character? One person was like, do you know this character? I'm like, And they're like, can you dress up as it? I'm like, sure. Just, you got to tell me what they're from, because I don't know. I'll watch the thing too, but I just don't know what it's from. So yeah, it was really interesting that kids got really excited. And when you tell them that you watch even a little bit of anime, or you know some of the anime that they're talking about, they get really excited. Like a lot of kids who are like, oh my God, you love anime, or you like anime, you watch anime? And I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
So it's a lot of fun. I kind of like, that's why when they suggest things, I will mentally make a note of it. Yeah. Because I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. It's not gonna kill me to watch an anime. Like whatever. I might question your judgment after. I'll be like, are you okay? Like, because I had a lot of kids who were like, we watch Stranger Things, and I'm like, that's great, but that's kind of dark for you, and you're in grade 4. Are you okay? Like,
you good?
You're all right there. Yeah. So it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm like, I mostly my anime choices are based off of suggestions, and even though if I don't watch it right away, it is there, and I will eventually go and check it out, because I'm like, I just want to know. I want to have more anime knowledge. So that's usually how I make my decision. That's why it's all over the place. Yeah,
because I was like, holy shit, where is one of these things just doesn't belong here, and it's all of them.
And the fun thing is I like it all. It's not like I'm like, oh, that was awful. I'm like, no, it's really interesting. It's just a lot of interesting things in there. Yeah. I'm going to Japan in December. Okay. So I'm like, yay, list of things that I'm going to probably buy is growing longer by the day. Like the teller was like, what do you want to buy when you're there? I'm like, honestly, I'm going to go and see what I like. Well, I'm like, I don't know what I like that I want to get from there. We'll find out once I get there. And we come back with a giant suitcase full of things. So, yeah. Yeah.
Amy just got back from Japan.
Right. Yeah.
And she kept sending me pictures, and I'm like, okay, can you just buy it all for me?
I know.
Like, figures are so cheap there.
God,
like,
and there's specific stores there. Like, I've been like saving different stores to go to, and they're like, this one has all the anime figures. I'm like, save for later.
It's like Akihabara. It's all like 4 stories.
Yeah, Don Quixote is like, I'm like, I'll just save all the things. We'll go to all of them if we can. So I'm really excited to just buy all the things. And they have all like the, what's it called? The claw machines.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be bad.
Boom's obsessed with those. Yeah.
I'm like, I don't gamble, but that is my gambling.
Oh, yeah. That's like, there was when we were in New York for Comic-Con. Yeah. There was the gachapon.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right, there was a gachapon station.
Yeah.
Like with 20 gachapon, and I think we spent like $60.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
And we were about to leave, and she turns and goes, oh, and like I turned and went, oh no, there goes our wallet.
Yeah. Oh God, I know.
Oh, because she wants a power keychain, like.
Right. You can't. Yeah. I'm really nervous. Yeah. And I'm excited, but I'm like, oh, Japan. Like it's gonna be bad. Yeah. We're trying to go into like either the Pokemon Cafe or Kirby Cafe. Okay. I'd like the Kirby one more because I just love Kirby. It's just a little cutie. Yeah. But right now I checked, like you're supposed to check every month or so, and everything's already full. And so a friend of mine who just also came back from Japan was like, oh, just check the day of.
Yeah, that's how Amy got in.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, we'll just check the day of kind of thing. So,
yeah, because it's like the Hunger Games trying to get
right. In. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, you know what? At least there's either Pokemon or Kirby, whichever one. At least you can still go to the store. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'll just go to the stores at least if worse comes to worse. But if we could, that'd be great to get in. But if not, I'm not trying to stress myself out. I'm like, if there's things that I do want to get done and we're going to like plan them and do all those things. But then there's stores that I can go to. So I'm like, I'll be all right otherwise.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. I'm excited for you.
Me too. I'm very excited.
Yeah. Very jealous.
I was going to work in Japan actually before I started teaching. Oh,
shit.
Yeah. So in 2007-ish. So I graduated from university in about 2007 and I was looking for a job and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go into teaching, but I can't get a teacher's college right now here. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just go teach abroad. So I looked into teaching English in Japan and I did I got 2 interviews. And the second interview, the people were like, well, you need at least $5,000 because just in case you don't get paid right away, you need to be able to pay your rent. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I have $0. Yeah. So I'm like, anytime I worked, it just got spent on myself. And then after my parents were one of those people who were like, you don't have to work, just focus on school. So I didn't really work a lot while I was in school. And then I'm like, well, I have no money saved. Well, this sucks. So I just went and found a random job, like customer service job. And I'm like, cool, I'll just do that. And not to say there's anything random or bad about customer service jobs. I just was like, it wasn't.
You needed the money, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll just do that for now. And years later, so I didn't end up going to Japan. Years later, I was telling my dad the story that I didn't go to Japan because of that. And he looks at me and he goes, you could have just asked me. I would have lent it to you. And I'm like, I don't think about that now because you're making me think that I could have been in Japan.
You're like,
and
I chose
not.
to be a good child.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not in Japan. I didn't go to Japan because I didn't ask.
Yeah.
So I'm like, not to say that my life turned out badly because I didn't go to Japan. It turned out the way it was supposed to. I'm very happy with my life. It turned out the way it's supposed to. But I was like, oh man, I could have been in Japan. So ever since 2007, I've been like, I need to go to Japan. I need to go to Japan.
Yeah.
And then last year I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'm turning 40. I'm going to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go during March break because that's only a week. And my brother's wife's, my brother-in-law's, my sister-in-law's dad is Japanese.
Okay.
And so I was telling him that I want to go to Japan. And he's like, no, you need 2 weeks. I'm like, March is out of the question.
A week is not enough.
Yeah. He's like, you can't do everything. So I was like, well, March break is out of the question. So I'm like, I guess we'll go in December. So I'm like, you know what? Turn 40, that last year of my 40th year, before I turned 41, we'll go to Japan. And I had planned that was what my goal was going to be. So I'm like, yes, this is so exciting. I'm like, planned it for like forever. My poor siblings and Attila are going to have to deal with me. My sister, my cousin, and Attila and I are going. Attila's going to have to deal with me just going, oh my God, guys, this is the thing. Guys, this is the thing. Guys, oh my God, this. So it's going to be a lot of that. Yeah. I apologize to them in advance. But I'm also not sorry about it. Because it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably where we're going on our honeymoon whenever that fucking happens. Because it is expensive.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I bought a credit card for points back in 2018, I think it was. I was working at I move my hands a lot.
Yeah, it's okay.
I've been whacking the mic the whole time. But in 2018, I started working at a private school, and everybody was like, you should get a points card, because I just had a regular, like the university credit cards that give you nothing. Yeah. So everyone's like, you should get a points card and save up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that, and I'm going to spend all of my points to go to Japan. And thankfully, I was able to buy my plane tickets with all of my points. So I was like, yay, got to save some money, even though I spent money, so whatever. But it worked out. Yeah. That is get a credit card where you can save up points and then use that towards the trip. Yeah. So that at least that way you don't have to. It's a lot of points. Yeah. Like it's taking me a long.
Jesus Christ.
I have not since 2018. I have not touched any of those points. They've been just sitting there accumulating, and I didn't even use all of them. I was able to save. I still have some saved up for other things later on. Of course. So I'm like, yay, that worked out. So if you can do that, that's one way of saving money. Otherwise, the hotels aren't that bad. Like we found hotels that were like $50, $60. I don't know what they look like at the moment. We looked at pictures. They seem clean. Yeah. But I'll let you know once we get back if they actually were. Yeah. But they seem nice, like nice enough. Like I think $50, $60 a night, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all. So
are you just staying in Tokyo, or just traveling around?
We're going to go to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto.
Okay.
And then we're just kind of going to do things. So once we get to Kyoto and Osaka, we're going to we're going to stay in Kyoto and go to Osaka, and then we're going to do Hiroshima and then come back to Tokyo eventually. Okay. And I think the plan is to do Mount Fuji before we go to Osaka and Kyoto. I just my cousin likes to make Excel spreadsheets, and I love it because as everything is all planned out, we have things on a list of how long things are going to take, and I like knowing where we're supposed to go. I just can't remember off the top of my head right now. But we're going to land in Tokyo, do a couple of days in Tokyo, and then from Tokyo go to Kyoto. Then we're just gonna go back and forth between Kyoto and Osaka and do things, a lot of temples and stuff, and then go back to Kyoto, do things there, and then go back all the way to back to Tokyo before we head out, we head home. And we're planning on doing Nintendo World. That is our our goal.
Yeah.
Because my cousin was like, do you want to do Disney or do you want to do, Universal kind of thing? And I was like, Nintendo World is in Universal.
Yeah.
But I was like, Disney I wanted to do, and it's cheaper apparently. If you do Disney Sea is cheaper than Disney World or Tokyo Disney.
Okay.
But apparently it's cheaper than like Disney World in Florida even.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, maybe. But then I'm like, but Nintendo World in Japan, they probably have next level. Yeah. I'm pretty sure a lot of my money is going to be spent on like stupid little popcorn buckets and all those kind of random things. So I'm really excited about that as well. So I'm like, yeah, let's do Nintendo World instead. So we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But
that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. I'm excited for me too. I'm just, I keep thinking about it. And I'm like, oh gosh, it's going to be December before I know it. And then I'm going to not be sleeping much because we're literally getting there, doing things, coming back on January 8th, and I go to school the next day.
Oh.
So yeah.
Good Lord.
It's going to be a fun time.
You're going to be like, hi, welcome back.
I mean, my kids this year, thankfully, are wonderful.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Last year and the year before, they were a little bit more tough. I still loved them, but they were just tough. This year, they're really super helpful. And so I'm like, you know what? Even if I'm like, they're just going to be like, Miss A, we know, we get it. Like, we're okay. Like, we'll help you out. So I'm not too stressed about it.
I love that.
Yeah.
One of one of my favorite things whenever I travel is food.
Oh, I know.
Like, I'm very food oriented.
Yep.
So going to Japan, I'm like, I just want to eat everything.
Oh, I know. My poor family, like we have a Japan like group chat on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I think at one point I was just sending like 13, 14 videos a day. At some point someone's like, my cousin was like, we have not watched any of these. You know that, right? I'm like, I know. I'm like, it's mostly for me. Yeah. It's for me to know where to find them. Yeah. Because I'm like, I save them on Instagram, but I'm like, but I just want people to know where to find them. And because I eat halal, my cousin, my sister, we eat halal. Yeah. It's an extra added thing of like, okay, we got to make sure if we're having like beef or chicken, it has to be halal. We got to make sure that there's no pork and stuff because there's a lot of pork-based broths.
Yes.
So just being extra careful on all that. So I'm like, I keep sending them like, these are halal places because there are a lot of halal options in Japan.
Good.
My parents have gone to Japan. My parents have gone literally everywhere. And then they come back, they go, we went here and you would have liked it. And I'm like, but just, you didn't take me?
Yeah.
But like, cool.
Hello?
I was like, fine, lucky that you're retired.
Yeah.
But they were like, yeah, we know, like, you want us to tell you about what the halal, the Japanese word for halal is, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
So they found a lot of halal options and that weren't just like, South Asian or brown or Pakistani or Indian food. But they're like, yeah, there's a lot of options. There's a person on TikTok or Instagram. Yeah. I think he has TikTok too, but he's a Japanese man who just does like Muslim Japanese man. Yeah. So his thing is Navito Halal, I think. So he just talks about all different halal options.
I love that.
So I'm like, I follow his account and he has so many different food options that are halal. I'm like, this is fantastic.
Well, because you never hear about that, right? Yeah. It's like that was actually one of my questions.
Yeah.
Is like,
yeah.
It's gonna. I thought it was gonna be pretty difficult to find that, but that's awesome.
There's a whole bunch. There's a large Muslim population over there, so I'm like, that's gonna be awesome. Like to have like broths and wagyu. Yeah. There's places where that guy was talking about wagyu beef and stuff. Yeah. That's halal. So I'm like, that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
So I'm like, that's fantastic because growing up here, I've gotten used to just either having a halal option or a vegetarian option. Yeah. And like good vegetarian option, not just like here's salad. Yeah. Kind of thing. And I mean, I love sushi, so that's not really a big deal. Like if I can't find anything to eat, I don't care. I could eat sushi all day and I'd be like happy. Yeah. Like I have no problem that I don't even have to worry about broth there because it's all just sushi. Yeah. It's all just seafood. So I'm like, I'm not really too concerned. I will have something to eat. Fish I love. The only thing I'm a little bit like about is like if I see things with faces on it, I go, but eyeballs, they're judging me.
I have a funny story about having stuff with faces on it.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a call out, Moon. So a couple of years ago before the pandemic, we went to a hot pot place. Fucking love hot pot. So good. And Moon ordered shrimp.
Oh, yeah. You got to ask if their faces on
it. Did not know that they had. She's like, ooh, shrimp. And I was like, okay, here we go. And then I didn't know that it came with heads either.
Right.
So they placed the lamb down, the beef, whatever. Yeah. And then they placed the shrimp down. And she ordered 2 orders of shrimp. which was like a gigantic order of shrimp, and they just have heads on
with
still.
little beady eyeballs.
Yep, with their little beady eyeballs. And she's like, I thought they were the other shrimp. And I was like, no. Yep. So I was like, do you want any of this? And she's like, no. So I ate an entire platter of like, because you had to crack them and like slurp them up, right?
Yeah.
I was a goddamn mess. I was very glad that I did not wear white because I was an absolute just everywhere because you have to crack them, right? And it's just
Yeah, no. I tell him he made some like a whole bunch of seafood things for me, and was like, "Here you go." And I looked at it. I'm like, "There's shrimp with faces on it," and the container I had. So the container had all like sorts of like it had some like calamari, it had like everything in it, but the shrimp had faces. So I'm like, I was picking around the pieces that didn't have, and there was this one shrimp that I remember just was stuck on the side of the container, and like it was on the side, so you could only see the one eye. And as I would pick out things, it would just be like squashed and looking at me, and I was like, it's judging me. And I told it to him, he's like, I'm so sorry. He felt so bad. I'm like, no, this is not a you problem. This is a me problem. I try, but it looks and judges me, and I can't eat it.
Yeah.
I've tried. This has been a thing since I was a kid. My mom once made a giant fish.
Yeah.
And she's like, look, I have fish. I'm like, yeah, you fish. And I went in and it had like the eyeballs, like it was a full fish.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I went, nope. And the entire night I did not touch it.
Oh.
And she's like, do you want that? And I'm like, no, it's watching me.
It's watching,
Yeah, my sister was like, yeah, she covered it with something afterwards and then we were able to eat it. And I'm like, no, I think I still knew it was judging me because it was still there. And I was like, I can't eat it.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm like, I know it's there and it'll just watch me. And I'm like, I can't do it. I picked around and ate everything else. And then there were like parts of the thing that were in there there were just little black like pepper balls kind of thing in there. But I was like, are these eyeballs or are they pepper? So I would just like pick them out because I didn't know. I didn't want to accidentally eat an eyeball. And I was like, no. So it was just one of those things. I'm like, so I have to be extra careful sometimes when I'm like, oh, shrimp.
Yeah.
Because I had the same situation where I'd be like, is it like the eyeball ones or the not eyeball ones? Because it'll depend on if I order shrimp or fish or not. Yeah. But otherwise it's not too bad. I don't mind it. So I'm really looking forward to food. They have that 10 yen cheese cone or cheese coin. Yeah. I want to have that because cheese. I love cheese.
I fucking love cheese.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
Like Attila will literally make things with just like buttloads of cheese. Yeah. That's the only way I can describe it just because he knows I like cheese. Wow. And I'm like, oh, cheese. I will I will literally go, oh, cheese. Yeah. And like my orders, like I will pick out food based off of how much cheese it has on it. And once I ordered a pizza, that I didn't realize we're at a like legit Italian place. Oh, okay, yeah, and I was like, "Ooh, mushroom pizza," and I was like, "I'm gonna get that." Yeah. And it comes out, and I'm like, "Where's the cheese at?" And apparently, if it doesn't say cheese on it, there's no cheese on it. Yeah, so I looked at it, and I looked at the waiter, and I was like, "But where's the cheese?
Can I get some Parmesan?"
Yeah, she's like, "No, there's no cheese." And I'm like, "But it was literally just dough and mushrooms, which is fine."
Oh, dough and mushrooms. I thought there was about a red
There was not even a sauce. Wow. There was just, and I was like, "But where my cheese at?" Yeah. And I was like, it was still fine, but it could have been better if there was cheese. Yeah. So ever since then, I've been kind of like paranoid when I order pizza. I'm like, does this have cheese? Yeah. And like, how much cheese does it have? Mm-hmm. Like, if it's got like a little bit, I want more cheese. Yeah. Just more, please.
There's a sushi place that we went to. Yeah. Or we go to. And I saw this on the menu. Yeah. And I was like, this is sacrilegious. I want to try it. Yeah, so it's sushi with cheese on top. And I was like, this is going to be disgusting. I'm still going to eat it, but it's still going to be gross. Yep. I took one bite, went, oh, fuck, this is really fucking good.
Cheese makes everything better.
It's just...
Unless you're lactose intolerant, then it doesn't make
I'm
lactose
better. Intolerant, but I still eat cheese like a Yeah, I love cheese. Yep. But yeah, I always when I go to that place with someone new, I'm like, listen, do not judge me. Okay, it is very good. You want to try it? Yeah. Because they flame melt it.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah. Yeah. It's like torch sushi, but with the cheese.
With the cheese on top. Yeah.
that sounds heavenly.
Yeah.
And I know that's not like legit sushi if you're, but cheese.
Yeah.
I can't help it. If you put cheese on something, I'm like, I love it. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
It's real bad, or cheese in it. Oh, so good.
So good.
Just you stuff something with cheese and go, here, cheese. And I'm like, oh, my sister and I went a while back with one of our friends. We had gone out to dinner.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I've never been here. What do you want to, what's good to order? And my sister was like, oh, the stuffed chicken breast is great. And it's got, cheese and what's it called? Spinach. And it's really good. And he didn't say anything. He just goes, okay. And he orders it. And he's eating it. And we're like, is it good? Isn't it so good? And he's like, it's fine. We're like, why don't you like it? He's like, oh, I don't really like cheese. My sister and I both looked at him and we were like, what? Like, we'd never come across in our entire, I think I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've never in my 30s come across anybody who just doesn't like cheese. Like, lactose intolerant is different.
Yeah, that's different.
But just don't like cheese. And I'm like, what?
Like, there's some cheeses I don't like.
Right,
but
and that's fair.
That's fair, but I like cheese.
This person didn't like cheese at all. And I was like,
weird.
What? And since then, I've come across, I think maybe one other person who was like, I don't like cheese. And I'm like,
I don't trust you.
What?
That's a red flag.
Yeah, I was like, what? What do you mean you don't like cheese? Like, do you like pizza? I don't even remember what the answer was because I was just like, I just blanked them out.
You blocked them out, yeah.
I was like, and mentally blocked. Yeah. Because I'm like, you don't like cheese. Well, I don't even need to know the answer if you like pizza or not, but okay.
Well, it's like the first time I wanted to cook for Jack.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I like tacos. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if I made like a spaghetti or something? He's like, I don't like pasta. And I'm like, hold on. What?
I have not met a person.
Yeah, he doesn't like the texture.
Okay, at least he has a reason.
Yeah, he has a reason.
Okay, that's a reason.
Thankfully, if he didn't have a reason, I'd be like,
I was like, all right, I can see that. It kind of, that's fair. But the people who didn't like cheese, they just, there's no real reason. They're just like, I just don't like it. I'm like,
oh, I don't like that.
What don't you like about it exactly? Yeah. Like, does it smell to you? Because it smells wonderful. But I'm like, I like all the cheeses, even the ones that are stinky. I'm like, oh, stinky, delicious. Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, you get over that.
Yeah. Once you eat it, you're like, it's delicious. Like, so I'm like, I was like, can't compute. Well, I don't. And to be fair, I'm not really that close to this person anymore. Yeah. So I guess it's a sign.
Fuck them.
I guess it's a sign you don't like cheese and I can't be friends with you. No, it's not that bad. It just happened that we ended up not being that close anymore. Yeah. But it's just, I don't get it. It's because I love cheese that much. Yeah. But
that's going to be the name of the episode. Sheba thinks cheese is a deal breaker.
Yep. Yeah. Cheese is a deal breaker. Yeah, I'm sorry if you don't like cheese.
As I'm making homemade mac and cheese tonight.
Oh, I know. You don't understand. When you told me you made homemade mac and cheese, that's all I've been thinking about since the time you told me you were making.
That's so funny.
I think I've mentioned it to like 5 times. I was like, and tomorrow I'm going to eat mac and cheese. Guess what I'm eating tomorrow? Mac and cheese. Because your mac and cheese is so good.
Well, thank you.
Like that one time you made it, I dreamed about it after that. I was like, it was so good. And I legit went and told Attila how much, because we just started dating at the time. And I just was like, oh my God. I'm like, Adam made mac and cheese and it was so good. Just like cheese. It was just cheese on cheese. And like he made mac and cheese because he loves to cook. Yeah. Out of the two of us, he's the cook. I will eat anything. Yeah.
I understand.
I know. That's why I was like, hey. Yeah. Like, and I was telling him on the weekend I ate. He's like, what'd you have for lunch yesterday? And I was like, a patty. And he's like, really? And I'm like, I was hungry and I needed food ASAP. I went for a run and came back and I was like, I hadn't eaten anything. And I'm like, what's going to take 5 minutes?
Hey, listen, a patty,
it
hits the spot.
Right.
It hits the spot.
And like, I hadn't had them like last year. Yeah. I was eating one like almost every day where people just knew me as the girl who ate patties every day. It was real bad. Yeah. Last year was a year. Yeah. But this year I'm better. I've been like, and mostly better because he makes me food and packs it up and I take it home and eat it. So that's why.
God damn.
Yeah.
God damn. Holy shit.
Do you know how many times I have to
want to pack me some food?
I was telling a coworker and she's like, what? I'm like, I know, I'm real lucky about it, but I get to hear about it from my mom who goes, you're a disappointment. And I'm like, I've been a disappointment with a lot of things, but that's cool.
Yeah.
So he made mac and cheese once too, and it was delicious also.
Yeah.
Because I think I just talked about your mac and cheese so much. He was just like, I should make some mac and cheese.
It's my turn.
I need to make mac and cheese. Because all I was like, oh my God, this was so good.
Yeah.
Because it was just cheese.
Yeah.
So there were noodles and cheese, and I was like,
noodles, cheese, and milk. That's it.
And I was like, I'm happy. I love that. Those are my favorite things. So I loved it. So I've been thinking about it since you've mentioned it.
Thank you, TikTok.
Yep. Thank you, TikTok.
Yep.
Yep. It's delicious. So yeah.
God. Yeah. I just love food.
Honestly, food is delicious.
Yeah.
Like I work out to eat.
Yeah.
Like it's just. Yep.
We went to this weird anime dance party thing on the weekend.
Cool.
And Reed went to get shawarma at this place.
Shawarma.
Yeah, shawarma. But I was still full from dinner.
Right.
But I walked in and went.
Right.
I smelt it. I was like, can I get just a samosa? Right? Just a samosa, right? He's like, oh, chicken or beef? I was like, chicken.
Yeah.
And I go to the till and he's like $1. And I'm like,
oh, I know.
I love you, sir. Can I kiss you on the mouth?
So many, like South Asian food, you can find some good quality, good stuff for my mom will come back with like boxes of samosas or like a box of samosas. She's like, this was all $10. I'm like, Jesus. They're like, how many samosas are in this?
Yeah.
So if you're looking for like some like good food that isn't that pricey, South Asian food is usually pretty good, and shawarmas are usually pretty good, reasonably priced, and they're like they're like
two
full.
meals in one.
Yeah, you're pretty full after. Yeah, and it's pretty good. It's not like fast food stuff. It's like pretty healthy enough stuff. So it's real good.
Yeah. I took one bite of that samosa and I was like
15 more, please.
Yeah, literally I was like, oh fuck, god damn it, if it wasn't busy.
Yep. And then you could just save a whole bunch. And you know what's great about that? You can freeze them.
Yep.
Buy them, freeze them, and then you got them. When people come over, that's my mom does this a lot. When people come over, she'll just take out the samosas. And she's like, here you go, samosas. Yeah. And they taste pretty good.
Yep.
So, I mean, after they've been frozen and stuff. The potato ones, be careful with them. The meat ones are better frozen. So don't go home and, freeze your like vegetarian ones and then get mad at me for that because it's not going to taste as good.
Yeah.
I learned that recently because my mom's like, don't freeze potatoes. I'm like, all right, cool, good to know.
Oh yeah, potatoes frozen. Yeah.
She's like, that's not that good. I'm like, I'm a 40-year-old adult and I'm learning this today.
Yeah.
So you learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok, even though I don't post as much on TikTok. But both of them are #perpetually single. I am not single anymore. That's a lie.
But it's such a good username. You can't. When you first got together with Attila, I was like, what's going to happen with your username? It's so good.
Well, and the reason why I came up with it in the first place, and we've talked about it before, was just because I was like, people just thought I was single and sad. Because when you're South Asian, after a certain age, after 25, they just go, oh, you're still single? Like I have kids going, oh, you're still single? And you're like, you're 10. Yeah. You're 8. Why are you concerned about my love life? Yeah. They're like, you boys. And you're like, then why are you telling me? Like, I don't know what that's the reason why. It wasn't because I was like, because some people, I had one friend who was like, you're going to be single forever with that name. And I'm like, no, it's not. I'm not saying that this is what my Instagram is because I want to be single forever. Yeah. It's just that, yes, I am single and this is what this is what I do. Yeah. I do things. Yeah. So anyways, but #perpetually single for both of them. And Facebook, same thing. And I have a podcast. I work with 2 other hosts. One's called Guardians of the MCU. We have MCU TV, but right now we've just combined it and it's all on Guardians of the MCU. And we just talk about Marvel news, Marvel things, just Marvel related everything. Yeah. But that's where you can find me.
Good. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Go follow her everywhere. And you can follow me at Corky Cosplays on Instagram and Adam Corky everywhere else. Donate to the Ko-fi because I'm poor. No, I'm kidding. It goes straight back into the show and you can get a little shout out. So that's Ko-fi.com/Adam Corky.
Corky.
Ko-fi.com/Adam Corky. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.